Hey, flies! What happened? The motor zoo 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 zoo.
Strange. Okay, we're going to start with the repair of the T7. Here are our main tools. We're going to have this hot glue gun. It's better if you get this kind of nozzle. It's very useful, this one, because you can go into the small cracks, and also you can spread the hot glue better than the round one. Most probably I'm going to need 2 sticks, so I keep the spare stick there. 1 cup of coffee, and we are ready to start. Okay, let's start with this. First, let's clean up whatever dirt that the plane had. This one fall inside a puddle of water, and I got some mud. So let's clean the part that is going to be glued. Put all the wires out of the way. First we will test fit. A very simple brush, or maybe if you have a old toothbrush that you can use. It's just to take out the particles of dirt that may be in there. Okay, first of all, test fit to see if there is any deformation. See, luckily no deformation. Okay, here we go. Looks fine both ways. Okay. Remove the receiver. Keep it aside. We don't want to glue the antennas and then have issues. Okay, let's see how it's our hot glue. The good thing about this nozzle is also it has a valve here, so it's not dripping hot glue only when you press. When you press, only the glue will go out and it will stop. It's not going to flow continuously. Okay, first of all, with hot glue, remember that hot glue is going to overflow the crack, right? Because we are adding some volume. So we don't need to put the hot glue all over the area of the crack. The best is to put in the middle, because the hot glue is going to expand both sides, right? So we put like this, because we know that after we put all 2 things together, this is going to expand. Some expansion is good, especially if it is in the inside, right? The expansion will be reinforcing the crack, but on the outside it doesn't look good. Okay, now carefully put this in place. The good thing about the hot glue is that it's very fast, very convenient, and very compatible with EPO. Yeah, some people say, why don't you use foam tack, you don't use epoxy. But epoxy I don't recommend, definitely don't recommend, because epoxy is rigid. When it's set, it's rigid, but EPO is always flexible. And this flexibility will make that the epoxy will detach from the surface. I tried, I lost a plane because of that. I will use a very good epoxy, from SAP Industries, and it was really good. 30-minute epoxy. I glue the elevators on my Alpha Jet, and that elevator just flew off on flight. And I can assure you that I put quite the amount of epoxy on that plane. Okay, always check up and down to make sure that everything is fine. Okay. And this is, it has some deformation on this side. Later we'll have to do something about it. Here also we have some broken parts. Always wet your finger somewhere before touching the hot glue because it's extremely hot. It's better to have a small cup of water and bring it. And with this cup of water, just wet your finger and you can shape the hot glue. But remember, hot glue can cause second-degree burns very easily. See, here's some overflow here because it's a very small part. So with this one, we just shape the overflow to maintain the shape of the part. Some crack here. That crack, you just need to insert the nozzle and inject some hot glue. Okay. Okay. Why I'm not using hot glue on these two halves? Because I want to put the contact cement here because it worked very good the first time. And one thing I'm going to do is to reinforce this broken part. For this one, it's better to use these popsicle sticks. You can get this one from any craft store. So just put hot glue like this. And just locate the crack and put the brace across. See? This is how it looks like inside. Sometimes it gets very strong, stronger than the original. You need to have the hot glue on all the time. Okay. Many of these repairs you can do in the field, but instead of using the hot glue gun, you can use the torch, because you see you can use the torch as a quick way of melting the glue, and that's what we do in our field. We just bring our torch or bring our hot glue stick, and we perform the repair on the spot. Many times planes that were not supposed to fly that day, we put it back on flight using this system. Okay, here we go. What else we have? Okay, you see the wing. The wing sustained very little damage. Only this plastic part was detached from the fuselage. This is the part that holds the screws. And here we have a broken part in the aileron. So first of all, let's put a glue here. Okay. You can also do this after, but better do it now, because after you will have to remove the blobs of hot glue and it will strip the paint as well. Okay, here you have some deformation that can be fixed by hand. Okay, I think this aileron is going to work again. Okay, now we're going to remove the hard points. Actually, for the type of crash, this plane survived quite well. Okay, here we can see this one part missing, but luckily, one thing important is when you are rescuing your plane, try to scout for all the small pieces. This small piece comes here. At the beginning, I didn't know where this was coming from, but it seems to come from here, right? So always find all the pieces, bring all the pieces, because at some point you will use it for the repair. Okay, so just put this one here. Always use water to touch the hot glue, because it's nasty. The burn can be nasty. Okay, now test this one. There is some compression here. There is some dirt here. There's some dirt inside. Clean up. Plastic looks good. Okay, you see? Perfect fit. Still a perfect fit. You can use hot glue for this one. Do it here. And just back in place. I almost used my coffee for this one. Okay, here we go. You see? Okay, this one test fit. It fits nice. Okay, some hot glue here. Some hot glue here. Okay, here we go. you can appreciate the amount of work designing these planes, because all this one simplifies a lot your work. Before, usually you have to glue this part, and when it's glued, the broken part is going to be more irregular in this one. With this one, not also you will find the assembly easier, but also when you have a crash, usually these plastic parts will unglue and become like a fuse. So it's going to break everything. It will be a weak point. Disconnect it again. Let's see, hopefully it's going to go on the right position. Okay. Everything fits really nice. No deformation here. Okay, let's put back the screws. Need to press a little bit. In. Sometimes a little bit misaligned the hole. Let me check. Some minor misalignment here. Can always push it a little bit. Okay. Okay. So it's already back on her feet. Now let's do the top, the upper part. We're going to find the position, the right position. Yes, here, this one first, and then this one. You can see the amount of deformation that we have here, and later we'll have to find a way how to push it back into shape. Okay? Okay. So okay, put it here to keep it in place. Second, one sip of coffee. Be patient. More surface. So more what to do there. fix and help to keep the parts in place. Okay, so make sure it's not sticking out. Just inside. Cut the excess. Okay. One more movement. Okay, good. Now this part. The hot glue is cooling down. We need to connect it again. We're going to put it here first. Okay, make sure all angles are in place. You see there are some separations and some gap because of the compression. You compress and broke, so that's why we have a gap. No problem with this one, because either we put it back like this or we just fill up the gap with hot glue. Always remember to use the water. Okay. The next video will teach you how to work with a special method to make very big hot glue gaps and make it very flat, right? Without even your fingerprints and so on. But yeah, so far this one. Later we'll need some paint touch-up. Okay, here we go. I will reconnect the hot glue. Just wait for a second. The hot glue needs to, you need to be careful with the temperature, because the hot glue will reach a peak of temperature in which it's going to affect the foam. Right? It will make the foam to pop up. I mean, because the foam is made of all these small foam spheres. When you put the hot glue and it's too hot, it will this sphere will expand and it will give you a very bad shape to the surface. That's why you need to use very hot glue only for non-visible parts. For instance, inside parts that are not on the surface. For surface, if you are going to use it, use let's say not so hot. Let it cool down a little bit, and then utilize hot glue. If not, you will have a very bad case of foam cellulitis. Okay, here we go. On this one, it's going to give us some problem here because we have some deformation here, some compression. It seems that this one I can accommodate with my own hand. I don't need the hot water, but sometimes when this one is like a banana, you will need to use hot water. Right now you can, I think I can use my hands to accommodate the foam. Again, I'm going to use hot glue all over because I need a fast setting. Let's see, now it's more flow, more fluid. Let's see, I need to close this gap here, close this gap here, here. Make sure not you're not gluing the wires. Okay. So let's start here. That's a good thing that this is a flat nozzle. It can go inside the gaps very easily. I'm using a lot of hot glue only on the cracks. On the flat surfaces I'm going to use only spots of hot glue. So if the plane crashes again, it's going to be easy to unglue again. Make sure that the seams are aligned. Always check different angles of the plane to make sure that everything is straight and properly set. And you see here we have a nice gap. We will have to either fill it with hot glue or try to make it too close. Yeah, I mean, I know. The plane already lost the pristine appeal, but it still can fly a lot. I mean, I have planes that after 20 crashes they still fly. Planes that maybe 30% of the weight, not primarily, I mean 20% of the weight probably is hot glue. Okay. For this one, we will need to have the reinforcement. So, let's put it now. We will help to keep in place. Keep this in place. When you're installing this one, make sure that it's deeper so it can the cockpit can still go inside, right? Because the cockpit tab has a lip that goes inside. This is what happens when you finish the hot glue. That's why you always need to have extra hot glue. You heat up the one end and put it inside. So it will help to continue pushing. Touched too longer the hot glue and got a little bit of burn. Be careful. try the cockpit. Okay, here you can see that we have an issue, right? Because the cockpit is the only one that survived more or less intact. So what we need to do is to start working on this one to keep the shape. Okay. And looking at the cockpit, I think I did made a mistake, so we have to unglue this part, because first I need to check on the alignment. So how you unglue it? With just isopropyl alcohol. That's the beauty of hot glue. If you make a mistake, just unglue it like that. Spray some alcohol and it will go out easily. Okay, now you see the gap here is much less. So this is going okay. Good. This is our last part. Yeah, wow, this is really going to need hot water. Because this one is really bad. Okay, here we go. Some hot water for this one. Need to be a little bit hotter. Okay, now the water is much hotter. Just let it get softer. Remember, the EPO is made of these small pellets. That's not pellets actually, spheres of foam that are sinterized together by very high temperature steam, probably 400 degrees, 300 degrees Celsius. So that's why with the hot water you can also modify a little bit. It's not going to be perfect, but it's better than keeping it completely deformed, right? So that's what you can do. Check. Okay. Still not there yet. Because also this one is deformed. We'll try to also do this one. Water needs to be near boiling point. you see, probably this one is the best we can do, right, to keep it straight. So what we're going to do is we are going to fill up this gap with hot glue, because if I put like this one, it's going to look quite strange. But if I put it this way and fill the gap, I think it's going to work. Let it dry first because it's already with water. Okay, now this is the best we could do with the compression that we had, the hot water and everything, but still we have this big gap here. So with this gap we are going to fill it with hot glue. For that the hot glue needs to be hot, very hot. So be very careful now. I just put a little bit there to keep it, and now we're going to fill the gap. Let the hot glue flow inside slowly. So we're going to generate one base layer. You see, because the hot glue is very hot, it's evaporating the water that was in the joint, and that's why we have these bubbles. Push it inside and let it set. You see, it's going better straight than before. It was a really hard crash, but the plane is recoverable. The one thing important is that usually the cockpit is the one that is going to be unscathed. I mean, less damage this one. That's what you need to use as a reference to see that the fuselage you are gluing is still straight, right? You see, you need to try to keep this closure line as small as possible, right? There are some cases, okay, you cannot help, but okay. Right. Okay. Okay, this one is almost done. One more layer to fill up this gap. Okay, you can see that there is the gap has been already filled up with the hot glue. Later we'll have to just paint, touch up with some paint as similar as this one. Okay, okay, this is how you repair, let's say, you don't want to make such a big fuss because you can also shave a little bit, sand it, we use filler, but this is a quick repair, right? This is okay. It's not, the plane is not going to be as beautiful as new, but you still can fly it. and you will learn your lesson. Be more careful next time when you are flying one of these planes. Make sure that all the wiring is in the right place. That is the lesson I learned now. Put it through here. That's it. And you can still put the cockpit. And next Saturday it's going to fly again. Okay, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and it's hope it's one useful for you. Next time I will show you how to fill the big gaps or to cover all these imperfections here and here, but it has a different technique. Thank you very much for watching. Thanks for supporting my channel. If you didn't do it yet, please subscribe and that will help me a lot. Thanks a lot. Stay safe.